Hello, welcome to Iris. Iris is an ERP system designed to help gaming operators and regulators manage their slot floor business processes. Iris workflows and actions ensure that employees adhere to standard operating procedures, regulations are met, the slot floor is compliant, and business risk minimized. Iris workflows and actions allow all in slot and compliance departments to be on the same page and to build quality into the process. At a high level, Iris creates and maintains a highly detailed electronic mealbook, complete with checklists, RAM clear, logic access, and tamper-proof seal history. Key among Iris's many functions is its ability to track tested components and identify revoked software. Iris syncs with BMM, GLI, and many state laboratories. Iris allows users to easily be detailed and accurate when tracking and managing revoked software and software inventory. Now let's take a look at how Iris models the business processes of slot departments and compliance departments. To do this, we'll look at this single EGM with serial number 87654, and we'll go to the History tab. From the History tab, we see events. From the time this machine was purchased and then prior to install, logic was accessed, a checklist was filled out, RAM clear was recorded, and the install was completed, where the components were also installed in this machine. And you can see here the floor address that it's located at and the asset number that was assigned. And the next event that occurred is that these components were sealed by seal 987, and they were placed by this user on this date and time. Iris date, time, and user stamps every event. Lastly, this slot inspection was filled out to ensure that all standard operating procedures and minimum internal controls were met. The actions that created these events are here. Update numbered seals, record logic access, perform RAM clear, and perform checklist. This is that final slot checklist. And we can see here that this perform RAM clear started out by first being a RAM clear checklist. All these checklists are easily configurable per property. In addition to the basic checklist or the RAM clear checklist, there are also slot inspections or what Iris calls audit checklists. An audit checklist provides much more detail. Here you see an example of an audit checklist. And if I scroll down, you can see that there are drop-down questions to be answered, there are text fields, there are roll-up parent questions, there are witnesses, and these checklists are designed to replicate or match any current checklist that you're filling out manually. And the advantage here, of course, with Iris is that this is electronic and can be filled out on the floor with a handheld Windows tablet or laptop, either offline or connected via Wi-Fi. Now let's take a look at another EGM, serial number 55179. As you can see, it also has a history. It looks a little different than what we looked at previously, but you can recognize some of the same items. And let's take a moment to look at the type of information that Iris keeps track of and associates with the serial number of each EGM. Starting here at the left, we have games. This is the game that is currently installed on this machine. If I click Show Removed Games, we can see what game, Dragon Hearts, used to be installed on this machine. Similarly, we can take a look at sub-games. So this Pot of Gold is a multi-game. Additionally, the game attachments, this is where you can attach the par sheet. The par sheet is attached to the game and it will follow the game in whatever cabinet that game is installed in. When we click on Components, we can see these are the current components that are installed in this machine. And if I click down here, we can see the components that used to be on this machine and that have been removed. This component here in red denotes a revoked component, and we can see the date that it was removed. Seal history, similar to the machine we looked at previously, lets us see what seal numbers are sealing which components. So seal 2997 is sealing these components, seal 2996 is sealing the logic door. And of course down here we could click and see any seal history previously. Cabinet attachments are associated with this serial number, with the cabinet. And it can include Word documents, Excel documents, JPEGs, or any document that you can attach electronically. Projects tab, this gives us a history of any projects that this EGM has been a part of in the past. So you can see here that it was first a part of an install project, and then a replace revoke components project, and now it is currently part of this pot of gold conversion. If I click on this project, it'll now take us to the project, and we can see that there are 4 EGMs that are members of this project. 2 of these have the conversion completed already, and 2 are still in process and have to be completed yet and are still scheduled. Here on the Scheduled Work tab, IRIS automatically generates a work order, and if I collapse this header, we can see the details of this scheduled work. And we can see here the location, game, and cabinet information, how it is currently configured, the changes that are going to occur, and how its final state will end up. And if I scroll down a little bit further, you can see that we're going to be removing these components and we're going to be adding these components, and this component will be left in the machine. Many of our customers require approval notification before a scheduled conversion or install can be approved. IRIS allows this to happen. Up here under conversion notification actions, there are several types of notifications that can be sent out to predefined distribution lists. And those notifications will be recorded here in the Notifications tab. So in addition to these notifications being sent via email and maintained within your email archives, these notifications will also be stored here in IRIS, and you can double click and see the details of this notification, who it was sent to and when, and there is also an Excel document that is attached containing the same information that's embedded here. Now let's take a look at the EGM viewer in IRIS, or the slot master list as many know it as. Here we have machines that are in various statuses. So here's our online status, here's return status, there's a new status or destroyed. These are all statuses within IRIS, and they're all configurable. Under statuses, there are states or workflow states as mentioned earlier. So here we have 81 machines that are in the state of active. These 2 machines are in a workflow state of conversion scheduled. So they're online machines that have a scheduled conversion. Similarly, these are online machines that are scheduled to be moved to storage, and relocation scheduled and upgrade scheduled, etc. Workflows in IRIS are meant to be configurable for every property. Some of the types of workflows might include in scheduling. Install requires TGA approval. Install requires surveillance approval. Install requires RAM clear, requires logic access checklist, etc. Let's go back to these 81 active machines, and let's take a look at revoked components, or EGMs that have revoked software installed. IRIS makes it easy to identify machines that have revoked software. You can see them here in red. Or you can go up here and you can simply filter by revoked EGMs. And it shows you those machines that have revoked software. There are many other places in Iris where you can also identify revoke components. If you go to the Components tab here, you'll see a detailed inventory list of BMM components, GLI components, BMM reports, GLI reports, which ones are revoked, which ones are non-mandatory, which ones are approved. For the purposes of this demonstration, we'll simply take a look at one of these right here. And you can simply right-click and perform an upgrade and remove that revoke software. Or you could select all three and do the same, or you can throw these all into a project and schedule this revoke software to be removed. Okay, at this point I will conclude this introductory video. Hopefully this has been informative and you now have an understanding of some of Iris's capabilities. I encourage you to give a call and schedule a live WebEx at your convenience, and we can go over any questions that you have. We can revisit some of the topics that were discussed here in this video, and we can talk about how Iris can fit into your organization. Again, I appreciate your interest and your time. Have a good day.